Should Joey Aguilar and Trinidad Chambliss get another year of college football eligibility? It is time to get the squad together.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skins are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
And what's up, everybody? Welcome into the SEC squad. Sit back, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we get you ready for another week talking all things SEC. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Let's welcome in our panel this week. We've got Corey Burton from Locked On Vandy, Stephen Willis from Locked On Ole Miss, Jimmy Stein from Locked On Bama, Eric Kane from Locked On Vols. I'm Chris Gordy, host of Locked On SEC. And gentlemen, hopefully you've braved the elements of the weather and this stupid cold front that we had through the last week plus. I know SEC country got pretty darn chilly, so hopefully you guys got through it okay. But wanted to kick around the big topic that came out a couple days ago. Joey Aguilar filing a suit this week against the NCAA, asking for another season of college eligibility. It's an antitrust suit, much like Diego Pavi's last year, saying since he played at community college, those years shouldn't count because it wasn't D1. So he played 2 years at App State, 1 year at Tennessee. He's looking for a fourth year at this level. So we asked the panel, do you guys think Aguilar has a case? Should he get an extra year?
Oh, how the turntables. Oh.
I mean, I don't see why he wouldn't, right? I mean, obviously this is a slam dunk. He deserves it, needs it. Now, Trinidad, no. Charles Bediako, basketball, heck no. Joey, yes.
I heard LeBron is looking for a retirement plan, Jimmy. If you guys want to take him.
Hey, his clock hasn't even started. That's a big difference from some other eligibility cases. LeBron never enrolled in college, so his clock has never started. So per all previous rulings, LeBron, I think, could play college basketball. I just don't know why he would. Look, my opinion.
His college clock hasn't started. His biological clock is well on its way.
But
I don't think
at his age, he could dominate.
Yeah, I'm coming from the Bediako school here, and I don't really think any of them should be able to play. But the toothpaste is already out of the tube. I mean, I think the problem isn't if it's up to me, and obviously it's not and shouldn't be. But I think 5 years to play four. Once you go pro, you can't go back to college. JUCO counts. Division II counts, App State counts. That's the way I would do it across the board, but the toothpaste is already out of the tube. Now, if you're going to parcel each case fact by fact, it's just too easy for lawyers to make arguments otherwise. And there's just so much inconsistency at this point, you almost have to let them all play.
You know, the interesting thing to me is people try to lump the Trinidad case in with the Pavia thing and all of that. But the reality with Trinidad is it's a bureaucracy thing of what is acceptable in D2 is not acceptable in D1. And because of that, Ole Miss is getting denied because the memorandum of what happened whenever he got injured wasn't done in a correct way for D1. And in 2024, in the Fair State National Championship game, they were talking about applying for a medical red shirt for Trinidad Chambliss even before he transferred. It should be a home run. I don't know how I feel about Trinidad being lumped into that discussion because this isn't one of those things where JUCO shouldn't count or something like that, or the time shouldn't have count. This is all just an NCAA bureaucracy thing for Trinidad Chambliss, and they have to get around that. That, in my opinion, is why this is a slam dunk. He's played 3 years of college football. He was injured 1 year, and he redshirted 1 year. And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, all three of these cases are different. But I agree with Jimmy completely. The toothpaste is out of the tube. You're seeing lawsuits everywhere across the country. It feels like, and the NCAA is more than not taking these L's in the courtroom. So, I don't. I'm not upset that any of these guys are going for it. Number one, you get to play again. Number two, you get to make some serious money when chances are you're not going to have an NFL, future or a longstanding NBA future. Now, I think the Bediako situation is completely different, but Joey Aguilar's situation is completely different than Trinidad's situation. Completely. It's obviously with Diego Pavia. So here's the thing that I don't think a lot of people understand or might not have known. Joey was a part of Diego Pavia's lawsuit. Okay, he voluntarily got out of it, was requested his release of it last week, picked up his own representation. So we knew this was going to happen at some point. But where these are all three similar, Stephen, it's on a local level. Trinidad's going in the local county. Biako went in Tuscaloosa. Joey Aguilar is going in Knox County. It's not in a federal level. It's in a local level. So those guys kind of paved the way for Joey Aguilar to say, all right, well, I'll still be taken care of there if Pavia's case wins eventually. But let me go see if I can get this done at a local level and see what happens. I think that was a pretty smart move just to give himself another opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Tom Mars came up with that idea with the NCAA not being incorporated. They are actually a resident of every single state and can be sued everywhere. And now you're starting to see that just kind of go around college football to where they need Congress to take a step to where they alleviate that, because right now there's rules for everybody.
Yeah, it's a complete mess, and Joey Aguilar could benefit from it. And Tennessee would be a welcome addition for their quarterback situation for sure. Faison Brandon, I think would stand to win the battle. Otherwise, I think he would come in better than McIntyre. But if you can get Aguilar back, it eases that transition a lot, Eric. And I definitely, as much as I love to bag on Tennessee, this would be a good win for them. And I just think at some point the guardrails have to come up and got to figure out some sort of system to not make this thing go even crazier. But hey,
the funny thing is, if not for Diego Pavia's lawsuit last year, Joey Aguilar wouldn't have played. Nobody would know who Joey Aguilar is. Because of that lawsuit, you got the blanket waiver that allowed Joey Aguilar to play, Miles Kitselman to play, Star Thomas. I'm naming off Tennessee guys right now, but guys like that all over the country. So it's kind of funny because, of course, there's a rivalry there, Tennessee and Vanderbilt and all that. But if not for Diego Pavia's lawsuit to begin with, nobody would have a clue.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Yeah. Nobody would have a clue who Joey Aguilar is. So I just think, I don't think, again, I go back to what Jimmy said. I personally, it's just, you're taking away opportunities for high school kids. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it in any sport. However, I joke about this in the group chat, guys. When it's your guy on your team, I mean, you're seeing everybody else do it. Go for it, man. Like, again, I don't fault any of these guys for going for it. I think the Bediako situation is different. Again, he went college, professional, back to college, but nonetheless, it's all out there. So go ahead and shoot your shot, right?
Well, the interesting part is denying an opportunity, right? Like, Aguilar is clearly a guy that probably doesn't have an NFL future. Like, he's probably not an NFL quarterback. But if there's $1 million sitting on the table from a Tennessee deal to say he can come back and play, or $2 million, like that's a great argument of this kid should get an extra year.
Yeah, the complaint in there is part of the complaint is Tennessee has reserved a roster spot for him. They have an NIL deal for him with like 2.1 or whatever, $2 million. And so like part of the argument is you are taking money out of his pocket, whereas he's not going to get that playing in they don't say that, but he's not going to get it playing in the NFL, so you're taking money out of his pocket. They're saying, well, he needs to go prepare for the NFL draft, and you're going to take that away from him. So, but yeah, that's in the complaint. Tennessee's got a spot for him. He's going to get paid $2 million.
Yeah,
so if he does lose that appeal and he does want to go try for the NFL, hasn't that deadline passed, or is he getting some sort of waiver to
he's a senior
the NFL process?
Yeah, when you're this old, you don't have to declare for the draft. You're in it.
You just have to be clear to go to the combine. You have to do that to that point. And I think that was the impetus behind Aguilar going through this, was to get ahead of the combine, because if it failed and they didn't get the injunction or whatever, all of a sudden he could go and participate or something like that.
Okay. I didn't know if there was some rule, just some blanket rule in the NFL draft. I never even really thought about that until just now. But yeah, like you said, Eric, go take your shot and see what happens.
Well, the other part of this, I don't know if you guys saw, Chris Hagerty is going to be the judge on the case. He is a 2-time University of Tennessee at Knoxville graduate. So much like the Trinidad Chambliss hearing.
Here's the
it's going to be hard to find judges in Mississippi that didn't go to Ole Miss Law School, and Tennessee at UT, and to some extent Vandy and Alabama. There's only 2 accredited law schools in Alabama, so that you're just going to be stuck with that, all over the South.
Is he a booster though? Because I'm not gonna lie to you, I went all in on the whole Bianco thing, and I made fun of the booster, the judge, and all that. If this guy's a Tennessee booster, well, go back and scrub some old table locked on balls.
Or
real
just
quick,
brace
guys.
yourself.
Show of hands. Raise your hand. Do you think, given all the information, should Aguilar get an extra year? Raise your hand.
2 hands.
Sure. I'll say.
Okay,
All
so
right.
Hey, sure, why not?
Let's
give him an extra
go.
year?
Yes.
And then same thing for Chambliss. You raise your hand. Do you think Trinidad Chambliss should
Yeah.
get?
I'll
it?
return the favor.
We all agree.
Yeah, sure.
So look, hey, for the SEC, it'd be hella awesome to have those 2 guys back with all the other guys coming back in the SEC. It'd be super exciting. So
To be the best, you got to beat the best, and why not?
No,
Just welcome
And
them
again,
back.
I'll reiterate that, I think they should, based on what's all happened.
Yeah.
None of them should have any of this.
I
If
agree.
we could go back 15 years ago,
I
and the Bediako case would not have existed without the Baylor case.
Yep.
I mean,
15
the Baylor
15
case led to the Bediako case. And if you and I think, Alabama, I even spoke with Alabama's athletic director about this. If they just got rid of all the pros, Alabama wouldn't object to Bediako being ineligible. If they got rid of all the pros, but they're like, the other guys have them, we should have them too.
Yeah, I will say this. 15 years ago, Trinidad would have had the same argument. It would have been a typical 6th-year thing that they were granting back in the day. But other than that, I get what you're saying.
well, Jimmy, the Dolphins have been so bad. I think Tua should get Bama eligibility back.
Yeah, okay, we'll take it.
When we return, guys, I want to pose a question. Did the SEC make a mistake going to a 9-game conference slate? We'll discuss SEC squad, talking more ball coming up next.
I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. Number 1 ranked UConn dominated Tennessee 96-66, turning a halftime tie into a historic win and avenging last season's loss by delivering the largest margin in the rivalry's history. AZ Fudd had 27 points and Sarah Strong added 26 as the Huskies remain perfect on the season, reminding everyone why they are the reigning national champions. In the Big Ten, number 2 UCLA rolled past number 8 Iowa 88-65, powered by 22 points from Angela Dukeledge and a huge advantage in the paint, staking their claim as a national threat. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts that same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment, putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
SEC squad rolling along here, and also want to remind you guys, if you have not checked out or become a member of our Everydayer Club, what are you waiting for? You need to go check that out. Of course, you can learn more at on our Everydayer Club. Just head to lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. Whichever SEC show you like most, go check it out. Become an Everydayer. Get exclusive access to our Discord channel and ad-free versions of your favorite show. All right, gents. Got into a little bit of a debate with the Big Ten folks a couple of days ago. Go figure. But the news came out that we're going to stay put at 12-team playoff going into next year. And it's kind of interesting because the SEC made the decision to move to a 9-game conference slate for next season, and yet we're not going to expand the playoffs. So I posed the question to you guys, and then I'll come back with a reason why I'm asking this. Did the SEC make a mistake going to a 9-game conference slate?
Yeah, absolutely it did. The original plan, and I am 100% convinced of this, this is my opinion, but I am convinced of this, was to go to the 16-team automatic qualifier model that the Big Ten talked about from the very beginning, and the 9-game SEC schedule and the extra Power 4 requirement that they had. It would make no difference because you are going to decide the 4 qualifying members of your conference to get into the playoff. You are going to be guaranteed to do it. But at some point along the way, somebody got in Greg Sankey's ear and said, hey, we don't need that. We can play the 9 games and get in the playoffs as it is. And I was like, this is ridiculous. You just intentionally hurt yourself for no other reason other than pride and ego and the ability to tell everybody the Big Ten wasn't right. And that is ridiculous. And right now, the SEC is in a worse case because of it.
Yeah, let me just add real quick. I mean, you're guaranteeing half your conference another loss, right? So that, you're talking a 10-2 versus a 9-3 and all that. But the other part of it is the money, right? I mean, what's the revenue share this year is what, 21 million for each SEC school. That number goes up by adding another week of SEC games, right? So, I mean, from that aspect, yes, the money and the revenue share, and everybody's saying, I need more money, got to pay these players, got to pay the players. So I get it from that perspective, but you're right, Stephen. It does hurt the SEC's chances for more teams in the playoff. What say the rest of you?
I have very little confidence that the playoff committee, based on what we've seen so far, is going to take this into account. I think they mostly spend their time counting losses, not factoring in strength of schedule as much as they should. And I think next year, when it comes down to Selection Sunday, there will be an SEC team or two that is 9-3 that is excluded, and they shouldn't be. They'll be excluded for a 2-loss team from another league. And I have very little confidence that the committee will take into account. The SEC had, I think this past year, 8 of the 10 most difficult schedules were SEC. That was before they went to 9 games. Next year, you'll see strength of schedule. I would bet, 14 of the top 16 will be SEC schools, but 9-3 teams will not be in the field next fall.
Well, Your Honor, my lawyer, Jimmy Stein, makes a compelling case because I submit to you Exhibit A of the last 3 national champions, the Big Ten teams that played a 9-game conference slate. Take a look at their non-conference games. Michigan in 23 played ECU, UNLV, and Bowling Green. Ohio State in 24 played Akron, Western Michigan, and Marshall. And in 25, Indiana, the undefeated champs, played Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. The reality is this stupid requirement that the SEC has where you got to play a Power 4 or power program from the Big 12 or the ACC, or it's stupid. You're shooting yourself in the foot. Remove that requirement. Let's go schedule 3 cupcakes and be done with it.
Yeah, absolutely. If the Big Ten can do it, so can we. And we agreed to go to 9 games. They pulled the rug over our eyes, not expanding the playoff field because the Big Ten said, oh, yeah, we said 16. Oh, why don't you do 24? And the SEC's like, no, we didn't agree to 24. We agreed to 16. And then, so just say screw the extra P4 game and let's get cupcakes. I agree with that.
Or remove the committee entirely.
I mean, that's a good idea too.
It's like being in a marathon and agreeing to run uphill. I'll run uphill. Everybody else on flat ground, but I'll run uphill. I mean, why would you do that?
Well, do you think that they kept that in place to protect the non-con rivalries there at the end of the season? Georgia Tech, Clemson, South Carolina, Kentucky, Louisville, yada, yada, yada. I mean, because those fan bases don't want to forfeit those games. What's the SEC to do? Tennessee doesn't have one of those games, and a lot of other teams don't have one of those games. So in order to keep those and keep those rivalries active.
That's a tough spot for Georgia and South Carolina.
Yeah, it is.
In Kentucky.
But if you're a Shane Beamer, you're going to go to bat and go, we can't lose the Clemson game. Okay, then you're going to be fired in 2 years, and someone else will be playing that game for you. You know what I mean? Like, you're looking for wins here. You want as many wins as possible, and adding more potential L's when you don't have to makes it tougher for you.
Yeah, the crazy thing is in this world, if they would have just swallowed their pride and taken the automatic qualifier model, it wouldn't have mattered if a team went 9-3. It wouldn't have mattered if Georgia lost to Georgia Tech, because all it would matter is where you finished inside the conference and how good the team was whenever it lined up against another team on the field, instead of counting losses, because that's the world that we're in. And that is the world that honestly Greg Sankey and the SEC put us in by just saying, no, we're not going to play your game.
Let me show you guys this real quick because I put this together. Here's the SEC's best non-con game in 26. Bama plays FSU. Auburn plays Baylor. Arkansas plays at Utah. Florida State. Georgia Tech. Kentucky, Louisville. LSU hosts Clemson. Mississippi State goes up to Minnesota. That's an interesting one. Mizzou goes to Kansas. Oklahoma goes to Michigan. Ole Miss plays Louisville. South Carolina plays at Clemson. Tennessee plays at Georgia Tech. A&M plays Arizona State. Texas plays Ohio State. Vandy plays NC State. Now take a look at the Big Ten. They've got some good ones. Ohio State plays at Texas, Michigan, Oklahoma, so on and so forth. But look at Indiana, USC, Penn State, Nebraska. None of them play a group of, or what we would consider a power, a tough non-conference game. They scheduled 3 cupcakes. Indiana did it 2 straight years. The reigning national champs didn't even try to test themselves because they know this is the model that works. Kurt Cignetti's not dumb.
What it's going to take is somebody on the committee that has some stones that would punish those type of schedules. If the SEC is playing 10 P4 games and the Big Ten is playing 3 P4 games because they're scheduling cupcakes, punish the ones that if it comes down to it, hey, you played 3 G5 games, you played an FCS and 2 G5s, and this team played an FCS, a G5, and a P4 from the SEC. Like, if tie goes to that and that may motivate them to add a P4 team on there.
Everybody's out for themselves. No one's looking in the best interest of college football. Texas played Ohio State last year in the opener, and it helped make for a compelling weekend for all college football fans everywhere. It was appointment TV for everyone that enjoys college football. If Texas had played Akron instead, Texas would be in the playoff. I mean, that's what's wrong. It's one of the many things that's wrong with college football right now. The committee is telling Texas, you need to schedule Akron, not Ohio State. And college football fans from across the country, they get robbed. You get Texas Akron instead of Texas Ohio State because of the decisions that the committee makes.
But everybody elsewhere would say, well, don't lose to Florida. Don't lose to Florida. Well, I got news for you. Florida might not be a great team, but Florida's still...
It's not an easy game to win.
It's not an easy game to win.
Yeah.
That's 2 years in a row that Florida in the swamp has not been good and kept a team out of the playoffs.
Because they are good.
And the Big Ten...
full of NFL players
because
in a 100,000-seat stadium.
Teams that aren't at the top tier in your league here in the Southeastern Conference to beat the crap out of the middle tier teams in the Big Ten. I mean, that's what
I was going to say. Like, the Big Ten's what the SEC used to be, like very top heavy.
Yes.
You're Pam Anderson, right? You're very top heavy. You've got you got Oregon, you got Ohio State, you got Michigan was kind of whatever last year, but like you got those top teams, but like Purdue wasn't sneaking up on anybody. Like Rutgers wasn't catching anybody sideways, like.
And it's just even worse because they have
Northwestern got rolled by Tulane. Northwestern got rolled by Tulane last year.
Yeah. So anyway, all the Big Ten fans want to say you're just crying SEC fans. Okay, but it's like taking a test and Indiana's taking it set on easy and we're all taking it set on hard. Like you have to get up for 2 games a year. Like, of course, Indiana's got an easy path to the playoff.
What the Big Ten doesn't have that the SEC is forced to have, everyone in the SEC, when you play South Carolina next year, I mean, let's be honest, South Carolina's probably going to pick to finish, 7-5, 8-4. I think it's going to be a standard pick for where South Carolina's going to finish. They have maybe the number 1 pick in the draft. They have a quarterback that could arguably be a first-round pick. The Big Ten doesn't have that, other than the top-heavy teams. Yeah. I mean, Rutgers, Maryland, Northwestern, they don't have first-round picks. Virtually everyone in the SEC is putting a couple of difference makers on the field. The Big Ten doesn't have that beyond the top 4 or 5 teams in the league.
Well, if you look at the Big Ten, you look at next year, it's like, what is the game of the year going to be in the Big Ten? And there's like 2 games that everybody can go to. What's going to be a good game. If you did that in the SEC next year, it's like, is it Ole Miss at Texas? Is it LSU at Alabama? I mean, over and over, you can go 6 teams deep with potential game of the year possibilities, and that's kind of the difference.
Well, speaking of that, could a Kentucky sneak up on people next year? We will discuss that. More squad, talking more ball next. Hey, first, guys, I want to remind you about our friends over at Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who can actually help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed Sponsored Jobs is the move, because instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listing to the people who fit your specific criteria with life skills, certifications, and location. If you're hiring, you wouldn't just want someone who can help out. You want somebody with real experience who can jump right in, and you're going to save time because you're spending less energy sorting through mismatches. And here's a stat that says it all. In 1 minute that we've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to the Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all the boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. Also, there's nothing like being at an NBA game in an NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been simple. That's why our friends at Game Time have become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. You pull up the Game Time app, you pick an upcoming NBA game, you'll have tickets locked in within minutes. If you love seeing the all-in price up front, no surprise fees at checkout with the Game Time app. Great last-minute options, too, with NBA tickets showing up at solid prices. Everything feels quick, intuitive, and stress-free from start to finish. If you want to go see the Cavs play with the new addition, James Harden, you can get those tickets on the Game Time app. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use our code LOCKEDONCollege, get $20 off your first purchase. That's Locked On for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. All right, gents, roll along here, Locked On SEC, and I wanted to get to this. If you guys didn't see this, Will Stein, the new Kentucky head coach, doing an interview with On3 earlier this week, and he said that we can go disrupt this league. The 36-year-old former Oregon offensive coordinator saying, I've never called a play I didn't think would score a touchdown. I'm that type of guy. I want an edge. Why not us? Let's go cut it loose, make sure we're in a position where we can go disrupt this league. With 29 portal commits, the 10th ranked portal class, I ask you guys, can Kentucky disrupt the SEC this season?
No, but like, what else is he supposed to say, right? I mean, new coach trying to fire up the fans. Like, I get it. I don't blame him for that. I mean, like, you don't want him to say the opposite. You want him to say, well, we could backdoor our way into a couple of wins this year. I don't think Kentucky's roster is where it is. Got a couple of Tennessee boys there on the offensive line. I don't know if that'll make a difference. Kenny Minchie's interesting. Did get that flip. That was obviously a big-time win. I like Javonte Barnes' addition. I thought that he was pretty good in spots at Oklahoma over the last couple of years. But overall, I don't think Kentucky's going to be very competitive. Certainly that defense is not what it used to be a couple of years ago with Mark Stoops. But what else is she supposed to say? I mean, I don't fault the new coach.
No, definitely not. And of course, the coach of Vanderbilt, when he first took over the job, said something very similar, and everybody kind of laughed at him. And now he finished last season 10-2 and looks like to be on an upward trajectory. So maybe that's setting something up for the future to get the fans hyped, to get recruiting going, and saying, hey, this guy has a vision. And just like you said, Eric, it is a perfect storm for him to make that statement and go do something about it.
I know we're talking Will Stein here, but I remember when Clark Lee took over at SEC Media Days, the players were like, yeah, he took away our helmet, or he took away our lockers and all of our T-shirts, and he said we got to earn it. And I thought that was the stupidest thing in the world. Well, he's in a pretty good spot now. I heard Florida and Summerall is doing that right now.
Yep.
Yeah. So, listen, this is the reason I don't think Kentucky is going to disrupt the SEC next year. Their first conference game is against Alabama. Then they go to Texas A&M, then at South Carolina, home against LSU, and at Oklahoma. That is the first 5 games for the Will Stein era in the SEC. I don't see any way that they're not 1-4 at the absolute best after those 5 games.
But are you judging them based on Kentucky last year, not this new Kentucky that's a completely overhauled roster, basically?
Yeah, I think South Carolina, I think Lenore Sellers was built in a lab for Kendall Briles. I think that offense is going to be spectacular for South Carolina this year. And Alabama's going to figure it out. LSU has talent all over the field. They paid $50 million for a roster. Oklahoma was a playoff team. It's just going to be very difficult. Texas A&M, a playoff team. This turned out to be a harder schedule than I thought that Kentucky had, because I was prepared to say, yeah, Will Stein's going to be able to disrupt. And then you get Vanderbilt and Tennessee and Missouri and Florida. I mean, it just doesn't stop for them. I think this is a bad luck for Kentucky, but in year one, you probably want the bad luck to happen at that point so you can continue to move forward.
I'm sure there's a why not us thing that Indiana has created around the country for programs like Kentucky. Why not us? And they're probably going to try to mimic the blueprint, portal heavy, older kids. That you can kind of see that coming. But like Steven said, with that schedule, you're going to find out quick. Alabama's there week 2 in Lexington. Probably find out quite a bit about Kentucky and Alabama in week 2.
Yeah, I don't need the basketball schools winning titles. Like if Kentucky football gets good and UConn starts to get good, I mean, we don't need that.
Here comes Villanova.
I think did they get rid of their football team? I don't know.
They were playing FCS for a while. I don't know.
Yeah,
they. I don't know. I don't think they did, but they're not very good. Well, they were good in FCS for a while.
It is interesting what Steven brought up, and I got to keep reminded, folks, too, is like we're looking at schedules and we're looking at teams on paper for next year, kind of still last year in our memory. We kind of have to wipe the slate, right? Because think of last year. Going into last year, we all looked at Ole Miss is going to take a step back. They're going to be worse. No, they were actually better. It's like, so we don't really know, but when you start to dissect, go, oh, I need to wipe my brain clean of the perspective of these teams from last year because this year's going to be very different.
Yeah, I think you could switch it 1 or 2 wins off of perspective. I don't know that Kentucky, they went 4 wins, 5 wins last year. I don't think they're going to jump up to 8 or 9. I don't think that's in the cards, but they could be better. And I really like Will Stein as a coach. I think they're going to be good. That schedule is just ridiculous.
Yeah, it is kind of brutal.
Yeah,
could have been a whole lot better if he found a way to hold on to Cutter Boley. That dude can play.
Well,
yeah.
And all he needed was the Tennessee defense to unlock it.
It was the Tennessee secondary, and all of a sudden he turned into Tom Brady.
Really good the rest of the way, man.
Texas A&M gets Arizona State with Cutter Boley, so that'll be an interesting one to watch in the non-con. But
the Mississippi State at Minnesota game, all of a sudden, I am so intrigued by that.
Probably 2 parallel programs, right? At this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's like row the boat, and it's like, is it an icebreaker? I don't know what's going on. I just want to see that a game in Minneapolis, Mississippi State playing. I'm in, all in.
Yeah, an exciting quarterback. And that kid's got a lot of athletic skills, kind of similar to Lenore Sellers. And, it'll be interesting to see how quickly he's good. He's got a good quarterback coach there in Jeff Levy, but that is a fascinating game.
Yeah. I wish it was in late November when it was like snowing real hard. That would have, bring back all white uniforms for Mississippi State so they can blend in.
The good news is, gents, we're into February now. We will be into spring practice here very soon. We've got spring game dates being set. We actually have spring games being played this year because we got rid of the stupid spring portal. So
Vandy is up.
Vandy's going to play a spring game this year. I mean,
they played
one. Announced the date, but I would be shocked if they played an actual game. I bet it's going to be 7-on-7, 1-on-1s, 10 plays scripted, and then get out. But hey, we'll see.
Well, it might be full on opening up with Faison Brandon and George McIntyre. May the best man win.
Need to.
Vandy actually played one last year. They played a real game. So
okay, well,
they weren't scared. Clark Lee wasn't scared.
Was it Kalen DeBoer like, we'll play one, but take us off national TV? We're not televising this. So.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if Alabama has a full scrimmage.
Yeah. We had a freaking hot dog eating contest, so I don't even know, man.
Didn't seem to set y'all back either. Didn't seem to set Ole Miss back. The dunk contest and the hot dog thing didn't set Ole Miss back. Kind of springboarded them into the best season in school history.
Yeah, seriously, maybe.
LSU fans, get ready for a tug of war or something like that. That's what's coming your way.
Water balloon fight, crawfish eating contest.
Remember, it's not a bad idea. Remember to follow and subscribe to your favorite SEC show. We'll be covering your team every day throughout the offseason. Don't forget, I'll have you covered on the entire conference every day with Locked On SEC, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. SEC Squad. Talk to you guys next week.
Free Trinidad.
Free Joey.